Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're taking a look at the premium Bandai Gundam Aesculapius from the G-Unit side story. I love this design. If you guys remember, the old school version of this is actually one of the very first model kits that I ever built way back when, and then I have done a modern review of that kit when they were reprinted pretty recently, maybe about a year and a half ago now. So I do have the old one on hand here that we will be able to compare with this new upgraded version, but I can't wait to check this out. I love the design. Let's go ahead and get right into it. So alright guys, starting off with the box. Even though this is a premium Bandai release, this is one of those rare instances where it does get a full artwork for the box, which is very nice to see. The artwork features its transformed state there in the background, and then some beautiful painting work here of the Aesculapius right there on the front. It looks amazing. The sides of the box featuring the HG After Colony logo and the same artwork as on the front, but here on the bottom you got pictures of what the kit is going to look like when it's all built up, front and back, and then transformed into the close combat mode, how that's going to look there. And then a little bit about some of the details and gimmicks here. We've got sticker markings for it. It comes with the beam rifles. With the old 1/44 scale kit, did not include those, so that's something new with this one. Also, the beam swords are going to be a little bit nicer than what we had with the original one, of course. It also has the accelerate rifle, which also was not included with the original kit. On the other side of the box is a little bit of information here about the Gundam. You got that in Japanese and in English, which is nice. And then just a couple more photographs over here showing how cool that design looks. And with that, we can go ahead and get this box open and check this kit out. So we got those very cool orange beam saber effect parts right there. There's our stickers, and at the bottom here we've got our instruction manual, which first off I can tell you guys is in the smaller size, interestingly, but very interesting layout here for this, as it is kind of similar to like the old HG layout of instruction manuals, HGC ones, where you had a big picture of the kit and then you had this information here on the side, but then normally it was kind of plain in the background. In this case it has some information here, once again in Japanese and in English, but there's a little bit of information there. Info here about the Python claws, the rapid shots. There's another look at our weapons. Over here about the beam rifles and the propellant leg tank. So they've kind of squeezed basically what is normally on the front and back of the manuals just all here onto the front, because on the back it's halfway taken up by the end of the kind of transformation of that, and then there's a little bit of a marking guide here. So you have a couple more photos, your color guide down there at the bottom as well. On the inside there's our parts list, and we've got a couple of color pages here. It's basically all the back side of the manual. All the inside is just all going to be in black and white, all just your general construction and everything of the kit. First off, we do have some foil stickers. There is a few of them, not really too bad, but there's going to be a number of those you're going to have to put on there for it to be color accurate. We do have some marking decals here as well, some black and white and yellow, different markings on there. Those look pretty nice. We got our one black wire, be careful not to lose that, and SB13 for our clear orange beam saber effect parts, a very nice unique color for those. And two different polycap runners here, PC001 and also PC002 for plenty of polycaps here in gray. Runner A1 and A2 are actually borrowed from the Geminis, so you got a couple of parts in that kind of pale orangish yellow kind of color up there, which is going to be replacing what was gold originally on the old HG kit, or gold stickers anyway. White plastic here, and then a dark navy for some parts there at the bottom. Runners B1 and B2 are also going to be from the Geminis, so including some parts like for the shield, which you'll obviously not use, but there's some parts for the beam rifle which you can use, joint parts and hand parts, things like that in this medium gray color. Runners C1 and C2 are also from the Geminis. These are going to be in a kind of light, slightly bluish gray color for some of the armor pieces. But then we get into our new parts here for the Aesculapius with the D1 runner, and then also D2, which is a copy of most of the runner here. So you've got white, that very nice purple, that yellowish orangish color there, and then some more gray parts here on the side. Runner E is going to be some more parts here in purple. F1, a few more new parts there in white, and runner F2, a few more pieces here in gray. Alright guys, so here is the kit all built up. I love it. It's really cool. It's really great to see a kit like this, which in my mind is such like an old kit, but it's cool to see it, you know, completely reimagined now with the modern details, modern part separation. That's one of the things that stands out for me the most about this, is how few stickers are required compared to the old school version. And again, we'll see a comparison here in just a minute. But yeah, the details and the part separation on this are amazing. There's even added gimmicks in there, and the transformation works better on this one as well, of course, as you might imagine. The proportions overall are pretty good. There's one aspect of the proportions that I'm not very pleased with this new version, but we'll talk about that here in just a second. Let's first just take a look at some of its included accessories. And it really doesn't come with a whole lot of accessories actually, because it's just sort of has all of its gimmicks sort of built into the transformation, as it were. The rifles, which you can see right here on the back, and then the gimmick of the transformation of the claws as well. It's meant to be sort of like a close combat mobile suit there with those. But we do have the 2 beam rifles, which are stored here on this part on the back, a new feature that the old kit did not have. And these are relatively simple, just a couple of pieces like that, and these can just be held in just the regular holding hands that we have there on the kit right now. For extra hands, we do also have an open or kind of rifle support hand here for the left side, and for the right side we have a trigger finger hand, which you don't need the trigger finger hand for these beam rifles on this kit, but you need the trigger finger hand here for the accelerate rifle, which is basically just leftover parts from the Geminas, but it shows you in the manual how to build this. And so it is an accessory that you can use with this kit here, obviously. It's a really cool rifle design, so I'm glad that we have this in here included. And we do also have our beam saber effect parts, and the beam saber handles are stored up here in the side of these kind of binders right there. And that's it for the accessories, but amongst our extra parts, you do also have all the parts to make a full head of the Geminas. So just in case you wanted to use that, either for this kit or for some other custom kit bash purposes, you've got the full head of that, and then a bunch of other random parts for like around on the shoulders and the legs and stuff like that. Not really too much that you can really make with those parts just as they are, but you could certainly use them for customizing. Now, if you didn't want to have these rifles on the back and you wanted to keep it like traditional looking, I guess, as it looked with the old kit, if you prefer that without these on there, you can just remove this part out of there and it just looks the same there like that. And as you can see, I did put a couple of the marking stickers on here. They really don't work all that well because it's a quite detailed design, and so these marking stickers, if they're on a white surface, they tend to look all right, but on the purple, they're not really going to look quite as good. For our sticker decals, the foil stickers, you can see right up inside of there, there's a couple of little gray ones, and then around here on the back of the leg, these little gray ones go in those details right there. And then some other stickers here on the head, the yellow accents on the side of the head, the eyes, the camera sticker on the top of the head. Those are the rest of our stickers. And the head here is the aspect of the proportions that I want to talk about that I'm displeased with this version. I'm not happy with the proportions of the head. It looks cool from the side, it looks right, but from the front it looks way too narrow in my opinion, and you guys can let me know what you think about that. But those ears on the side, kind of a iconic aspect of the head designs of these kits, should be like way more farther out to the side instead of like straight back like that. So now would probably be a good time to take a look at a comparison. So here is the old kit. As you can see, all those kind of like orange gold parts on there, that's all stickers, and it's just a very sticker heavy kit all over the place. But if we just focus on the head here for a minute, you can see the difference. Here's the new head, here's the old head, just how much different that looks just because it's so much wider on the old head. Now I will say there's certainly aspects about the new head design that are a lot more nicely detailed, a lot more sleeker, but it's just kind of the general shape is just not really for me. I gotta say, I prefer the old one. But I mean, just taking a look at the two kits side by side, I mean, you can see overall the proportions so much better with the new version. It's just, you know, aside from the head and just the details and all the color separation, as I was saying before, it's just so much nicer. So it's definitely, you know, in every single other way, it's definitely an improvement over the old kit. But let's talk a little bit here quickly about the articulation. The head will go nice and far up, all the way up to there, down to there, although I do find that it keeps wanting to pop out there out of the body for some reason. So this polycap joint there for the neck is kind of weak. In the torso section, we do have a pretty nice ab crunch here, forward and back, and there goes the head again. So like every time I'm touching it, it's wanting to pop out of there. So I'm just gonna set that to the side for the moment. Side to side here as well, you have a little bit of a bend and then just rotation there at the hip section. At the shoulder, the joint will swing to the front, and then it's otherwise just a ball and socket joint there, the ball into the polycap socket, which I will admit does make me a little bit worried just because these shoulders are so heavy, and especially once you extend out the arms and everything, it's a lot of weight to have to hold up here just with this ball joint into that polycap, and I'm worried that that's gonna sink down and not really be able to support the weight very well. But the arm will just work normally down here, rotation at the bicep, a 90-degree bend at the elbow, unfortunately, nothing more than that, but you do have a nice separation of this elbow armor right there at the back. Kind of cool that that's a separate piece, but do kind of wish that we would have got a little bit more of an elbow bend there. Wrist is just a ball joint. The skirt armor at the front is connected together. You can snip that apart if you prefer. The side skirt armor move side to side. The back skirt armor as well, you can move, as that's just attached onto a small ball joint there at the back, so you can move that around as needed. The leg's able to come all the way out to the side, very far. If you raise the skirt armor, you can bring the leg up to the front. It's getting kind of a little bit jammed up there, but you can bring it up to about 90 degrees. The knee bend gives you a nice full bend there with the double joint at the knee. No separation of this knee armor though, unfortunately. Down here at the foot, you do have a nice downward pointing toe bend there like that, and then the ankle will be able to move a little bit here side to side. This part around here on the back and these parts that kind of go around the ankle are kind of movable, but that's really just more kind of for the transformation, and it's actually a new part of the transformation. On the old kit, it doesn't have any transformation at the legs at all, so that's only something that this kit will do. Now, to talk about the transformation, you do have to remove the head for that, so I'm just going to leave that off since we've already got that off. But starting off here with the python claws, kind of a cool aspect of this is that this thruster belt up inside the shoulder armor here, you're meant to push that in, and how it works is you just kind of rotate it 90 degrees and then you're able to push that in slightly more, and it just makes it so it's kind of more tucked up in there. Basically how this works is that this just pops off the shoulder like that. You can pull this out and this has that wire going through these parts. This is another cool aspect of this, but I'm not sure how well it's going to hold up over time, as it's just like a couple of wires kind of going in between these parts there. But you essentially just kind of fold that around the hand and extend that out, and then that's how you get your claws. And now it's just going to be a very cool looking gimmick, although you would think it would have a little bit more articulation, but it does kind of limit the articulation to basically just going up and down, and that's kind of about it. You can't really bend the elbow just because of this connection right here, but you do have the added feature of these claws having some movement in that you can kind of close them and open them slightly. Again, something that the old kit did not have. For the leg transformation, we're going to pop this part off the side, and this part which goes around the foot is going to kind of fold it down like that to be kind of more around the base of the foot like that. You're going to change the position of this purple part and then basically put this in upside down as to how it was going like that. Now it's going to be like this, and this is going to cover the front of your knee like that. And for the backpack, quite simply, these parts are going to rotate up. You're going to fold this all up over the top here. And there you have it, guys. There's the transformation into the close combat mode. I gotta say, a lot of mixed feelings about this kit, to be honest. It's so much of an improvement over the original kit in so many ways, but I feel like it still has some issues. So it really is kind of a shame because, you know, if you're just going on how the kit looks, you know, it looks great. It's just that there's a lot of parts of it that just kind of feel a little bit flimsy here and there. Like I said, aside from just the head keep wanting to pop off, just like the shoulder joints, just because of them being ball and socket joints there into that polycap, they're kind of weak there. And then like the way that the python claws transform also just makes it kind of feel at the same time flimsy, and it also kind of very much limits your articulation. So I really wish that a little bit more time maybe would have been spent on the transformation of this kit, just to make it a little bit more solid, just to make it feel like you didn't have parts wanting to fall off every time we were moving the kit around and everything. So it's a really cool design that has a lot of potential if you do want to put the work into this to, like, you know, like fully paint it up and detail it, because it has a lot of detail on there. And I feel like, you know, if you really put in the time to paint in all the details, add some decals and everything, you know, it's going to be a really, really good looking kit. It's just that straight out of the box, it may have you feeling, you know, a little bit disappointed with it, just because it does feel a little bit flimsy in hand. And for me personally, like I said, just that head design, man, I don't know why it's so narrow. But other than that, guys, that's about it for this review. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section down below. I'm just really glad that Bandai is revisiting these kits, because there's some really cool designs in this series, and I'm definitely looking forward to more. We have the low booster out as well, and I'll be taking a look at that in the near future. And then I'm sure we're probably going to see, probably the Greep will be next, and then ultimately, you know, hopefully we'll get a Hydra as well. I think that'll be very cool. Hopefully the transformation of that will work well, although that's a model kit that I, you know, personally don't really care too much for the transformation of it, so I don't mind too much. But I am looking forward to more future releases out in the line. Oh, and there's the Geminus, of course. How could I forget? But yeah, it sucks that they're P-Bandai, but I'm just happy that we're getting some new G-Unit kits. It is really cool. I do like this series. So that's it for this video, guys. If you want to check out some more Gundam models for yourself, check the link in the video description to USI Gundam store down below the video. You guys can find all sorts of different Gundam model kits, paints, tools, supplies, all that good stuff there for you to check out. And if you'd also like to like and subscribe while you're here, I'd greatly appreciate it. But thank you all so much for checking out the video here today. Have a great day, guys. I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.